Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grumman Pilot's YouTube channel. And today is episode 11 of Hangar Flying, and we have an update on the Project Tiger. And as you can see here, we're beginning the process of taking everything off the engine because it's now going to the engine shop for a tear down and inspection, new gears, whatever it needs. It's going to come back together and get rehung on the airplane. So stay tuned for all this fun information. So we would like to ask you please subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notify to stay current with our content. So now that we're not really so busy with customer airplanes, we had a chance to go to Harbor Freight and buy some plastic shelving unit, and we also bought some packing blankets. And the reason for that is we can get some of the parts off of the floor for the Project Tiger, get them organized on the shelf, because we're going to be taking the engine off the airplane. It's going to the engine shop, and it's going to get a tear down and inspection and overhaul, and then it's going to come back to us and get rehung on the airplane. But in the meanwhile, we just needed to organize all of our bits and pieces, and so that's what we were doing today at the hangar, getting all of that put away. And it was actually on Friday, and we've been kind of busy with some other stuff, getting ready for Oshkosh and everything. But anyway, we've got the parts now organized, and there you can see the seats that we're going to go out and have covered and everything. So all that's getting ready to come together, but the big stumbling block is we've got to get the engine out of the way first, because with the engine, we're going to take the airplane to the avionics shop and have the panel redone. And at that point, meanwhile, we can fill all our time with doing the annual. But in the meanwhile, we went through a box of some inventories and some screws, all precision parts for carburetors. We're making up a box to go to Rust because we're not going to be needing it. So here's what the engine started like. We've got everything on it, all the accessories. And so we're going to start with taking the propeller off. We're going to take the alternator off, the starter off. We're going to drop the exhaust. We're going to take all the wires loose on the engine. We're going to go ahead and getting it stripped down eventually to take the carburetor, the airbox off, remove it from the motor mounts, and then we can put it on the pallet and take it right over to the engine shop, which luckily for us is on the field. So here's the engine as we're starting with it on this Friday, and it's coming along fairly nicely. Everything's labeled. We've been taking loose the Tannis and everything else, and so when we get it all done, then we can start worrying about the other bits and pieces that we're going to be adding to the engine and get the start of the airplane coming back together with all the new bits on it. So anyway, here's what we're starting with. Camera up at a little bit of a high angle just to kind of show you where we are with the engine. It also serves a little bit of like photographic evidence, like here's how the alternator is put together, so when we go to put it back on, we can remember where all the bolts and all go to it. But now we begin the process of removing the propeller, and it's going to be a little bit intermittent here, folks, with the video, because it's going to sometimes take 2-3 hands to do pieces like the exhaust, because we don't want to drop it on the nose fairing and scratch the nose strut that we've done, and we also don't want to drop the propeller, even though it is a Macaulay. Now, coming apart, we did find out that the back plate is all punched out. Not going to do us any good, but that's okay. We were expecting that, and we had already ordered a new one. And we found the same thing with the forward bulkhead. It was also punched out. Now the good news is that the doubler is a little scarred, a little Scotch-Brite, and smoothing will take care of that. Then with some large area washers, we'll be able to reuse the doubler. But the forward and the rear bulkhead were toast and dead on arrival for us, and so it's a good thing we had new ones in the box ready to go on the airplane. So now that we've gotten the propeller off the airplane, now we can concentrate on getting the alternator and the starter assembly and all in the ring gear. Drop all of that, and as you can see, we've already done all of that, and we're in the process of removing all the wiring, the primer, and all the oil return lines. We are taking a complete engine to the shop to be torn down and put back together, and then once the engine has been reassembled and ready for a sign-off, then we're going to go ahead and put all the accessories back on it, because it's going to get run on an engine test stand for the first break-in time. And then here we were looking inside the banjo, and I had to adjust the light, and here's the carburetor that's going to be going off the Ross. And here's basically everything we took off: the magnetos, the starter, the alternator, the duct hoses, the intake tubes, the exhaust system. So you kind of get the picture that the engine is being stripped down and she's getting ready to go to the shop. So ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for watching all of this, and now stay tuned, because our engine is going to a shop for a tear down, and here we're going to have a little bit of fast forward, some soundtrack music of an engine being torn down, and we'll see you on the other side of all this, and we'll talk a bit more to finish up this episode. we've got the engine started coming off the airplane. Matt and I will finish that up before everybody gets off to Oshkosh. And speaking of going off to Oshkosh, we did have some bright safety yellow shirts made for Oshkosh. Make it easy to find people in the GPA. It's got a shop monkey on the front. You go around on the back side, it says Grumman Pilots Association, white lettering on, so it's a nice cool color for a hot summer, but it's a nice bright color, helps you find people as you're hanging around. So ladies and gentlemen, we hope you found all of this interesting and useful on the Project Hiker, what we're doing to it. Here's a picture of John Meister and I flying back in 1999 together over Fly Moraine. So we hope you found this episode all useful and informative. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day flying your Grumman, and have fun at Oshkosh. And in addition, there's a little treat about 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing web work and other stuff. Here's my cat coming down, playing with a mouse and meowing and just having a good time with me in the wee hours of the night. So I thought I'd throw this into you as a little treat. Y'all please enjoy.